Tonight's episode is brought to you in part by Klub TV and Wilson's Pizza and Grill.
This from my pops, California coastlines, living out my real mind. Now it's really showtime, now it's how I draw a line. From the fake to real, that's how it feels when you multi. But let's not forget all of the giants I wanna stunt down. Scared that their positions can't be taken with a new sound.
We're here. I am Coach Mo, and this is the Evening Social Podcast. And we're here with Markuann Smith. How you doing?
What's up, Coach Mo? Thank you for having me.
Man, appreciate y'all coming down here. First of all, let me ask you, you're in Wyandotte County. What did you come to Wyandotte County for?
We came down here to work on an episodic series called Hit Boy Redemption.
Okay. Good. We appreciate you coming down here and doing it.
Appreciate it.
Let's talk a little bit about that. This series, you filmed here, what's it about? What's the character you play?
I play a character by the name of Riz. And Riz kind of resonates to me, you know, growing up in the area where I grew up at. I'm from Harlem, but I grew up in Far Rockaway, Queens. And growing up in Queens, it was not that much for a young man to do. You know, we grew up around housing projects. As you know, New York City housing projects, we got like about 15 housing projects on one inlet. And we all fighting to share a McDonald's, we all fighting to share a gas station, things of that sort. So Riz's character basically is trying to figure a way out of poverty, but the only way he knows how to do it is the streets.
Let's talk a little bit about your background. How did you get into the industry?
Oh man, I started off as a kid growing up. I used to watch a lot of television. I used to lock myself in a room and watching television, it kind of drowned out the white noise. It drowned out the gunshots. You know, I lost a lot of friends growing up as well. So like TV is something that just gravitated to me. I could just close my doors and I could be anywhere I want to on that screen. It's like make believe. It wasn't my reality. Reality was the outside. Inside was the reality that I made. And my mom's always tried to keep me out of trouble. My older brother was an artist by the name of Father MC, and he got signed to Uptown Records. And when he got signed to Uptown Records, I was in and out of juvenile facilities. I was in Spofford, and I was in this place called Lincoln Hall. Lincoln Hall is part of the Division of Youth System in New York City. And Spofford is notorious because the Central Park Five was in Spofford, Mike Tyson was in Spofford. The list goes on. That's a place you go to. It's like almost like a rite of passage for a kid growing up. You know, Spofford and Rikers Island, and I was caught up in those worlds. So when my brother got signed, he said, "I'm gonna take you on the road with me." And my first tour, I was on tour with Candyman, Troop, High Five, Second to None, AMG, Salt and Pepper, and I saw a different world. I got out of Far Rockaway, Queens, out of New York City, and I was able to travel to Chicago, to Washington D.C., to Detroit, and just saw how people lived in different manners. And you know, that showed me that I wanted to grow. You know, and when I was on the road, I was a roadie. And for your audience that doesn't know what a roadie is, I was the guy, the person off the bus, the last one on. So I had to do the grunt work, you know. But my brother had to open up the budget for me to be able to travel and get on the road. And I used to carry these big turntables. I used to have to break down the props on stage. But I was also on the road with another roadie who was a good friend of mine by the name of Tupac Shakur. And Tupac was a roadie for Digital Underground. I was a roadie for my brother, and Tretch was a roadie for Latifah. So we had this camaraderie, especially me and Pac. We used to just sit down and talk about life and how we wanted to, actually make changes in our life. And I just never wanted to go back to what I loved. So I was just looking at the world through my rear view. I was like, I'm not going back to that.
I understand that. Now, talk a little bit about your work on Godfather Of Harlem. You're the executive producer of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it took me 18 years to get Godfather Of Harlem done. How it started off was I used to go see my godmother. She lived in this tenement called Lennox Terrace, right? And Lennox Terrace was a place in Harlem that a lot of athletes, musicians, politicians lived at. It was very prestigious to live there. And at every Sunday I used to go up there and she used to tell me these magical stories about Harlem. She would tell me how she used to walk out of a tenement building and smell fresh laundry hanging out of a window, or walk past 125th Street, look up, see James Brown's name on the marquee, or walk past Sugar Ray Robinson's barbershop, look outside, you might see his pink Cadillac, look inside, you may see Nat King Cole waiting to get a haircut, or Jackie Wilson getting a haircut. But she also told me how African Americans migrated from the South, whether you went to DC, whether you went to Philly, whether you went to Newark, New Jersey, or whether you went to Harlem, New York. It was one of the most tumultuous times in the 60s. And, going to do something simple as purchase a hat at a hat store. The owner may say, you need to put on a shower cap before you purchase this hat. Or a father who worked all week and just wanted to take his family out for a steak dinner. The owner of the restaurant may say, we don't have room for you. And you got to take the food to go. So everybody was trying to escape Bull Connor's water hoses and his dogs from the South, but they was coming up north and facing the same type of racism. But she also told me about my grandfather, who was from Charleston, South Carolina, and his name was Ellsworth Raymond Johnson, but the streets know him as Bumpy Johnson. And he didn't come up to New York to become a gangster. He actually went to New York to become an attorney like Malcolm X. But the bursar told him that, you know what, you don't get financial aid to people of color. So he turned to what he knew best. I mean, he took the cards that were dealt to him and he played the best way he could, and he became the underworld boss, Bumpy Johnson.
I heard he used to write poetry.
Yeah. See, Bumpy wasn't just a gangster. He wrote self-published poetry. He read Shakespeare. He read Nietzsche. There's rumors that he beat Bobby Fischer in chess. He was the first underworld boss that was able to sit down with the 5 mafia families, whether it was Meyer Lansky, Bugsy Siegel, Frank Costello, Vito Genovese, Lucky Luciano. These are guys that were the roots of the 5 families, the La Cosa Nostra, our thing, And they didn't look at Bumpy as a nigger. They looked at him as an African American man that was able to be the conduit to bring the drugs from Pleasant Avenue into Central Harlem. And he was that conduit. So he was well respected.
So why did it take you so long for that production?
Well, I mean, everything doesn't happen overnight. These executives, first of all, to sell a TV series, it's unheard of. It's like the lottery, right? You walking in to talk to an executive, the only thing they give a hell about is the ROI. What's their return on investment? ROI, return on investment, right? So you sitting down and talking to them, all they seeing your lips move, but they're not actually looking at the creative side. I mean, I walked into a room with my big brother, an Academy Award winning actor, Forrest Whitaker. My other brother, Chris Brancato, who created the hottest TV series for Netflix called Narcos, right? And he still turned us down. I got 3 no's from 3 different networks. I got a no from Apple, I got a no from Netflix, I got a no from Stars twice. Matter of fact, the head of WME, William Morris Endeavor, that's an agency, walked me back in to talk to Stars again, and they still said no. If it wasn't for a guy by the name of Michael Wright, who used to work at TNT, who said, you know what, I believe in this project, and I want to make this happen, I don't know where the project would be right now. But I tell people all the time, never give up on your dreams. If you believe it, you can achieve it. It might sound kind of cliche, but I tell people you can chase your pension or chase your passion. I decided to chase my passion.
I like that. Tell us a little bit about your start. You got started. Tell us some of the movies that you worked in.
Oh man, I was fortunate enough to, rest in peace, Tupac. Pop put me in Juice. I was a day player. Samuel L. Jackson chased me till he had to take out his asthma pump. Samuel Jackson. I was in Poetic Justice. I got awarded lead actor in a project called A Good Day to Die. It's a bunch of stuff I've been in, but getting Godfather of Harlem and knowing that it took 18 years to get a $100 million show done, that's the most exciting thing in my life. And I tell you this, right? Everybody says they have a story. But remember this is a Martin Luther King Boulevard in every hood. There's a Malcolm X Boulevard in every hood. Why is your story different? How is the A story connected to the B story that connects to the C story? Growing up, 2 things. You sell drugs, you're either going to die or you go to jail. That's not a story to me. I like to tell stories that are juxtaposition of what's happening in America. I like to make history cool. So that's how I see that Godfather of Harlem is so different than anything. Because you know what? You never saw the relationship with an underworld boss and a civil rights leader, right?
Right.
If you watch The Sopranos, why you like Tony Soprano? Because you never saw the parallel between a mobster having a relationship with his therapist. Why you like Walter White? Breaking Bad, you never saw the relationship between a chemistry teacher who has a deadly disease, but he has to sell methamphetamines to pay for his treatment. You know what I'm saying? These are intricate characters. These are characters that are so different. You know, yeah, Bumpy Johnson was a dope dealer. He sold dope. He gave away turkeys in the hood. He gave away book bags. He put kids to school, but he still was a dope dealer, right? That doesn't justify what we did. And in our show, we don't just try to make it seem like he's a good guy, right? But he was a man that was trying to find his redemption the best way that he could.
Gotcha. Well, we've got one more question, then we're gonna let you go. For our youth, audience around, what would you tell them? Is everyone has success looks different? What would you tell them is the key for success for them?
I mean, with me, I can speak for me, right?
Yeah.
If the youth want to relate to my story, let it be. But I never had a plan B. I believe if you have a plan B, you're already planning to fail your plan A. So I stick to my plan A. I don't care about a plan B. I'm thinking about a plan B. I already know I'm failing. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. And I tell people this all the time. Are you ready to eat tuna fish sandwiches? Are you ready to eat ramen noodles? Are you ready to sleep on somebody's floor because you can't afford a hotel that night, but you gotta sleep there, right? And humble yourself. Are you ready to say, yo, Mo, you gotta hook up on buddy passes? Because I got a meeting at Netflix Monday morning, and I gotta get out, and I can't afford a regular flight. So Sunday, I gotta get out, I gotta make this meeting. Everybody wants success until it's time to get success. So if you're not ready for that, then you're not ready for success.
Well, we appreciate you coming here to Kansas City.
Thank you, brother.
Sitting down with us, man.
Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to working with you guys and doing more stuff with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.